But it looks fantastic, right? If I get 4, I'm happy. 5's very, very good. 6 is the miracle one.
Retirement from the game comes to us all. I announced mine at the Crucible in 2016, but was delighted to stay part of the BBC team.
Showbiz.
Staying warm at the Crucible. It's the other side of superheated sport in Sheffield. Ask Hazel.
It's a greenhouse, remember. It might look beautiful, but it's very cold. It is the world's second longest annual sporting event behind the Tour de France. You kind of go through something every April, don't you? You come out the other end of it after a Crucible campaign.
Well, the slave drivers that work us and drive us into the ground.
They're actually all laughing in our ear now.
Steve buys his own chocolate brownies and never doesn't offer anyone else one. That's the sort of people you're dealing with. He's a coffee snob.
I had my run in the 1980s, and then this bloke took over. World champion 7 times in the 1990s. It wasn't as if we hadn't seen him coming.
The under-16 champion from Fife in Scotland making his TV debut, Stephen Hendry.
Stephen came into the picture, and of course when a Scotsman is playing at the Crucible, you're rushing back from training to watch him play, and you know, and it was a fantastic time.
I think many people thought before Stephen Hendry came along that Steve Davis owned the Crucible, and then came this young, fresh-faced Scot who exuded a winning mentality, probably like we've never seen and will never see again.
Henry had the potting thing, just like the magnificent break building of the same cue action, hit the ball. He made snooker look like it was being played on a 3x6 bar box table. I mean, he just never missed.
He was 16 years old when he turned professional. He was 21 when he won his first World Championship in 1990, the youngest ever. He ruled the 90s. He was still only 30 when he won his 7th title in 1999. It's a strange old thing trying to analyse why we stopped.
Do you think after all these years you still love the game? Not in exactly the same way, but it's in your blood.
I know what you mean. It's what we're best at, isn't it, snooker? Yeah. So I don't think it ever leaves you, and I think I'll always be involved in the game because basically it's all I know. Yeah! I love the game. I loved it more when I was playing on Sunday nights, but I still enjoy it.
You all of a sudden said, well, now that I'm not winning, I'm going to retire. Whereas I went, I'm losing, but I still love the game, so I'm going to carry on playing, even if I don't win. Yeah. There's 2 different mentalities from 2 of the biggest winners in the game.
Yeah, for me, it's different. There's love in the game, and there's enjoying what you get out of it. And although I love the game, when you took away the winning, which was the ultimate for me, you took away the sort of the desire.
Perhaps it's a lot easier when you're young. This is Stephen at 17 at his first Crucible, when it's all in front of you.
I get to the Crucible, I'm drawn against Willie Thorne, and I'm thinking, you know, just don't disgrace yourself. Don't lose 10-0 or 10-1 on live TV. Lost the match 10-8, got that sort of famous, nice applause from him going out, which I look back on now, I just think, oh God, I want to punch him. but he didn't mean it like sarcastically.
He was just relieved.
Yeah, probably, yes.
I think I'll win it in the next 5 years.
I always just loved playing there. I think a lot of players, you sort of hear moaning, oh, it's too long, and then they get to the semi-finals, they get beat, oh, I'm tired, it's true, I'm drained, and complete nonsense. I just loved it. I mean, even if you have like 4 matches go to final frame, I think you're at the World Championship, you're at the Crucible, you still get yourself up for the final somehow.
And with that break of 71, Stephen Hendry brings a great championship to an end. He has beaten Jimmy White by 18 frames to 12 to become the youngest ever champion.
To some degree, you broke millions of snooker fans' hearts on many occasions because you did more damage in the finals of the World Championship to Jimmy White than I did. Was there any part of you that felt a bit sorry for Jimmy?
No.
when interviewed, he realised he was brutal as a competitive animal.
He was a more clinical animal than I was even back then.
And any suggestion of a social moment or something that might be fun, he said, no, why do that? Why do that? It's winning, it's only winning. And you think, oh, all right. And of course it worked. My goodness, it worked for him. And maybe if Jimmy had had a tenth of that, other players, he might have just had that.
Jimmy was doing other stuff.
Jimmy White would be my favourite player. I mean, what a story.
Got to be the best player never to have been world champion. So many finals, so many near misses, it just never quite happened for him.
6 Crucible finals, 5 consecutive Crucible finals, 4 finals at the Crucible against Stephen Hendry, and he's in the record books at losing them.
And it was heartbreaking, I mean, really heartbreaking.
I won 6 finals. Jimmy lost 6.
He must get fed up with the amount of times people are saying the same old questions about the World Championship and all that. But I mean, like, you had the roller coaster at it.
Yeah, I'm obviously quite proud of being in 6 finals, but...
Do you know what? I don't remember the matches I win.
No.
Do you only remember the matches you've lost?
Well, you obviously remember the ones you lost. A couple of the finals, I weren't quite there with Hendry. I don't know how I got to the final.
92, he's in his 4th final. We've seen him lose 3 times already. He's lost to Davis, Parrott, lost to Hendry already, of course. And he's 14-8 up, Jimmy. And listen, at 14-8 up, you're world champion. I mean, you're world champion. You know you are. You know you're spending your winnings.
And this has been a fabulous clearance. Jimmy White cleared up brilliantly.
14-8 up with Hendry, and in my corner thinking, oh, I thank him, he helped me. I won't thank him, he didn't help. I know, and I should have just rolled up, snookered him, but, you know.
And that's why he's the #1 in the world. Wonderful shot.
All of a sudden it's 14-12, and like, you know, I couldn't have parted them if they was in a lineup, but you lose focus.
His mind must be on the 3 previous finals he's been into.
I won 10 frames in a row to beat him.
And there's a rather sad picture. Jimmy will be the saddest person in Sheffield.
What does that do to you? I mean, how do you take that? How do you compute that? He must have been sitting there thinking all sorts of things.
He becomes the 1992 Embassy World Champion for the 2nd time.
I think the nation wanted Jimmy White. Please, Jimmy, please win a Crucible final.
Jimmy White to Britain.
Then 94, of course, you go to a final frame. That's his 6th, you know, and Hendry has now beaten him in 3 finals. You don't lose 6, you lose 5 times, and then you win. Then you beat the bad guy. Okay, we all know it. 17 all. I think Hendry's in the balls, then Jimmy White is in.
Stephen Hendry, 24.
And you know what? He's on his way.
Well, just look at the scores. 17 frames each. 24 points each. What a shot he's taking on.
I thought he was going to win. I was in my chair and I wouldn't have had many supporters in the audience when I was playing Jimmy, but I had 2 or 3 in the balcony there, and I sort of looked up and said, well, that's it. I'm not winning this one.
He puts this brilliant blue into the middle pocket, and you're thinking he's on a roll. He's about to be crowned world champion.
Everyone at home is thinking, here we go, finally. You know, it's not even close. He is not even close on that black.
I had a great winning chance there. I think I rushed the black, obviously under extreme pressure.
As soon as I seen the black wobbling, I just shot out of my chair.
He's cool as mustard.
Perhaps because I'd resigned myself to defeat, but I was so relaxed in that clearance. I look back on it now and I think, God, you must have been absolutely shaken and under sober. But I swear, I was so relaxed.
And you're thinking to yourself, Jimmy White's not coming back to the table. Jimmy White has lost another world title.
Not many people could take that, you know. Most people would not be able to take mentally what Jimmy has been through.
Stephen Henry has proved once again that he's the best player in the world.
It's heartbreaking when you watch his speech afterwards, you know, because he's such a good loser, he's such a class act.
What can I say apart from happy birthday?
He's beginning to annoy me. I'm obviously quite proud of being in 6 finals, but the way I was progressing in a lifestyle, I might have been dead, you know, so...
Really?
Yeah, so I got to sort of say...
I mean, is it true? Were you like partying in between matches?
You know, like you are now with this DJ stuff, you know, when you're giving it boom, boom all night. There's some of that going on. It was either gambling or party. You know, I'm not proud of it, but there's nothing I can do about it. Listen, I'm 54, and realistically, you know, I can't win the World Championships, but, you know, I'm still enjoying it. I enjoy practicing. So why I'm still enjoying it, I still believe I can win. Listen, it's been a pleasure, as always, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.
Keep rocking and rolling.
Thank you. Terrific.
Getting inside the head of any snooker player, well, it's a gift, and nobody does it better than this man. Psychiatrist and professor and doctor, Steve Peters.
Steve.
Hello.
How you doing? All right? Nice to see you.
Good.
You're getting used to this place. You know your way around all of a sudden.
Yeah, I should have a room here now.
I know you should. Yeah, listen, I'm in dressing room 12 today. I've got problems with my interviewing technique. I'm under pressure a bit, so perhaps you can help me.
Right. Not a problem. Not a problem.
Actually, it's not me. We need to talk about Ronnie O'Sullivan.
It seems to me this is the only place where the players could truly unravel.
The Crucible has a specific challenge even within snooker. It was surprising when I first started getting into what Ronnie was doing. I had to get him to explain to me the nuances of the sport so I see how he's perceiving them. And then one of the things he mentioned with the Crucible was, when it comes towards the Worlds, I've got to get my endurance on my feet. He says, you're not used to it. You do short frames. So here he has to build up with practices and on his feet much longer times in order to get that endurance.
I think perhaps one of the great things that Ronnie can do is he's able to play quickly and naturally and take his brain a bit out of gear. And that must be, at the Crucible, more of an advantage, I think, than anything.
It is. And once he gets into this floor, his confidence level for the next shot goes up and up. My job is to say, well, let's get that confidence regardless. Don't rely on getting into the floor on a good shot. If it goes wrong and wrong and wrong, learn to deal with that and still have the confidence to know it's going to happen. Most of them are perfectionists. They see anything less than winning as, I failed, and that's a shame because actually anything is good once you've got here, but winning isn't what you want.
It's a test of expertise to marry the long-form game with a short fuse, the least conventional of his generation. Our Ronnie.
You have to go and see a psychologist.
Oh, I'll fly through them. I know all the right answers for that.
Well, Steve Peters put you right.
Oh, no, I've seen so many psychiatrists, I know exactly what to say. I'll be fine with that.
It's so much of a buzz, and it turned up for the World Championship.
Is it though, Steve? 17 days? Did you feel... I find it a lot of stress and pressure. I find when I'm playing it's fine, but it's just the waiting around. I just think... Oh,
yeah, it
God,
is, yeah.
like...
Well, you have to wait around for those just odd moments of panic.
You get that fleeting moment where you win it and you're in the zone and you're flying, and don't get me wrong, that's an amazing feeling. But 17 days of it, you're like...
It's a war of attrition.
Yeah, it's a war of attrition, yeah. I mean, I've been 16-8 up in the semis thinking, this could go wrong. I'm thinking, like, that's not a nice feeling. I don't know, it's just the Crucible. I think it just does it to you, doesn't it?
In some ways, he's overcome the mistrust of the marathon. In many ways.
5 times world champion, but let's face it, it really should have been 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times world champion.
He's a great character to have in the game. He's absolutely comes down from that lineage of Higgins, White, O'Sullivan. He's more talented than anyone in that lineage, is the truth.
Here we have somebody who has personality, who has sporting genius, also wows crowds like I've never seen.
He's an absolute one-off. You know, he's the sort of person that makes people who don't watch your sport watch your sport.
There is no better sight in world sport for me than seeing Ronnie O'Sullivan clearing up.
The one record that will literally never be beaten, and you can take it from me, it won't be, is 5 minutes 20 seconds by Ronnie O'Sullivan. Maximum break.
Probably the most extraordinary feat anyone's ever achieved on a snooker table, I would say. Certainly televised.
I think it's one of the most incredible things ever seen in sport, to be honest.
One.
It's artistic, it's creative, it's clairvoyant, it's psychic. He's tuning in to higher energy without any shadow of a doubt.
He's basically got the cue ball on a string. We're watching a magician at work.
I'm starting to get a bit excited here.
It doesn't look hurried. He doesn't look as if he's trying to be really quick.
He just made it look so easy, and that's what the greats do in any sport.
Each shot by shot, he made it look easy, but the speed was phenomenal.
4 minutes for the century. Amazing.
Right, this is the key shot. Needs a good angle on this red to get on the black. He's got it just.
113.
There are some bits where he stops and he looks and you think, "Come on, hurry up! You've got to break the record." You know, he does it in the time it takes. It's unbelievable.
129.
Perfect. Yes, absolutely perfect.
134.
I don't believe this.
What a break! What a fantastic maximum break that is. Ronnie O'Sullivan's delighted, the crowd's delighted, John Virgo, and I'm delighted. 5 minutes for one unbelievable maximum break.
What took him so long? You know, incredible.
Steve, come on. 5 minutes, 20 seconds.
And he dropped his chalk.
And he dropped his chalk in the middle of it.
Sensational.
We were all there through television, and that's the magic of the Crucible, because we were there, as David Vine and others have said throughout the years, welcome to the best seat in the house.
That's where I am now, the X, watching the best, but somehow still closely connected, living every shot, glued to every camera shot.
When I started watching snooker, it was literally one camera, possibly two cameras, possibly three. Now you've got cameras in pockets, you've got a camera looking down on the players as well.
I think we should say good evening and welcome to each of our cameramen, because although it looks easy and although they are supposed to be anonymous by the very nature of what they're doing, without them, nothing gets broadcast. Let's say good evening. In the corner, it's Darryl.
And you watch the dance of the cameras, these amazingly experienced cameramen, and you think, my God, he's getting too close, but he knows. They've instinctively, I've spoken to them, they learn the body language of the players, so they know, oh, he's going to do another turn around the table, so I'll stay back. We say, all right, he's just going to stay on that side of the table, so I'll go in. You know, they have to predict that, so they're not kind of breaking the concentration. They're fully aware that although their first job is to get the pictures to the public, almost equal first is they mustn't break the concentration of the player. Now these computer graphics that give you the exact position at lower down and map the balls so accurately. How they do that, I don't know.
That's what he's faced with there.
It's just extraordinary how it's evolved from one, possibly two cameras, a whispering Ted Lowe, to this all singing, all dancing box of tricks that we now have at our disposal.
Right. I hate it. I tell you, you sit in my seat, right, and I'll be the presenter. I've always wanted to be the presenter.
It's a bit of a change.
I know. Oh,
Reversal.
I'm feeling the pressure already. You've seen so much stuff at the Crucible, but obviously you missed the 90s, effectively. But you've seen the modern-day era unfold.
I've witnessed so many amazing things. And I do remember that the first World Championship we did together was 2002, and that was Ebden's year.
Yeah.
And it was Ebden against Hendry, 18-17 in the final. I thought they were all like that.
Much of the drama of the Crucible is about ripping up convention, like being known as the Hurricane or the Rocket. And then there's Peter Ebden, who moves at a slower pace.
So the Peter Ebden-Stephen Hendry final, possibly the tensest final since 1985. The one thing we know about Peter Ebden, and I can speak from personal experience here, sometimes we go very late into the night when Peter is playing. And I say that in the kindest possible sense, Peter. And it went late on, and Stephen Hendry has a chance to make it 8 world titles.
When I think of Stephen, and I've said it before, I liken Stephen to the biggest, baddest, meanest great white shark there's ever been. because he was absolutely ruthless. Really, when I should have won 18-16, I missed a black off the spot that I thought was in.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. How's he missed that?
It was just refocus, you know, getting the disappointment out of my mind of losing the previous frame, and yeah, just putting everything into it. You know, I think back to that World Championship, and it really was like wringing a sponge. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, right, a little bit more, come on, a little bit more. And that's what it was like, you know, everything that I am, I gave.
Stephen Hendry, he's now got to sit there and wonder how many he's going to be behind when he gets back to the table. If he gets back to the table.
I probably made one of the best breaks under pressure in my entire career.
What a moment in the life of Peter Ebdon. Everything he's worked for, dreamt of, will become a reality. Pot this or not. It's over! 7 times world champion Stephen Hendry claps his hand and says, well done, Peter Ebdon. You are the Embassy champion of the world.
Hendry, devastated. No one likes seeing that.
If you look back at my face, yeah, I was way shocked. I still send shivers down my spine thinking about that.
It was just the satisfaction of knowing that you've beaten the most successful player of all time. Family and friends there, and my daughter Clarissa was there at the end and held her up, and yeah, it sends a chill down my spine thinking about it now.
The theatre, the stage and the set, built with infinite care.
Any special pressure on the World Championship tables? You putting them up? Do you feel the heat? Do you feel the pressure?
God, you feel a massive pressure, yeah, you know, because it's so much coverage, and, you know, the whole world's looking at it, you know, and it's... I know there's a lot going on at World Championship, but at the end of the day, it comes down to those big green things in the middle of the floor, you know, and you've immense amount of pressure. It's not good for us because it's tiny. From one side of the set to the table's only 5'4" or 1.53 in new money. 4'10" in it, average cue size, 4'10", so only gives them 6 inches.
It must hurt when all of a sudden you put your heart and soul into making the table to the best of your ability, perfect. And then the player comes off and says,
rubbish.
It was rubbish.
He's what's he doing there?
I've had that many times, you know, but, you know, and sometimes, you know, things go wrong, but, you know, majority of the time it's out of your control. It's atmosphere, heating, too hot, you know, but the playing conditions now, you just can't, you cannot do any more, you know.
We're almost up to date and ready to start again, which brings us to the reigning world champion. And here's one of those snooker stories within a story.
And here comes Leicester's world #1, Mark Selby!
I did catch the final last year, although there was something on that was a little bit more important on that particular occasion. I was at home with my boys watching Leicester win the Premier League title. I'm not sure I've mentioned it before.
Final of the World Championship, Crucible Theatre, Mark Selby looking for his second, Ding looking for his first. Doesn't get better than this.
It's fascinating that, you know, Leicester were winning the title at the same time, and, you know, he's a huge Leicester City fan, Mark Selby, and, you know, that can actually put you off, is the truth. You know, you're either thinking, am I going to be inspired by this because, you know, this incredible sporting thing has happened, or actually, am I going to take my eye off the ball?
That's an excellent shot.
I was sort of at the interval, I said to my friend, what's the score with Leicester, and it was 0-0 at the time.
It's a fabulous chance here. And it's there. Mark Selby, for the second time, lifts the world title, and he becomes world champion for 2016.
But it was only after I'd won, I'd gone back to my seat, and one of my friends who was sat next to me in the crowd, he said to me that Tottenham had drew 2-2 and Leicester were champions, so that sort of made it even better.
This is part 2 of a sporting double for your hometown. So my big question is, are you going to let them share your open-top bus?
Well, I didn't get one last time when I won it 2 years ago, so...
The joy afterwards as well, when he realised, I've got it all. We've done it all. The whole of Leicester was delighted. They found a king in their car park. You know, they'd won the league title and they'd won the World Championship.
I watched the end of it. To be honest, I'd had a few by that stage, so I might not remember it too well.
The Leicester Sporting Double, all part of the global appeal of today. Prize money this year, nearly £2 million. The television audience, keep adding the noughts.
I think that last year, Ding Junhui in the final attracted an audience in China of over 250 million people during the middle of the night watching his match. I mean, the 18
quarter of a billion, and meanwhile, players like Mark Williams have got Dave Llewellyn's tractor fitter stitched to their jacket. He's going to get amazing hits on their website. It's going to crash. Quarter of a billion people say, "Oh, what's this? We need to find out." I love that, because for all its glamour, for all that Barry Hearn has brought to the game, it still has these wonderful little, you know, Pete Widgeon's doubleglazing.co.uk written across
the whole of China.
We chuckle at our peril. This is the Crucible, with its heat that can keep each and every one of us, wherever we are, warmed by its glow.
The dream of people now is to go to the Crucible as a spectator, not as a player, to sample that atmosphere that is totally unique, that can't be replicated anywhere in the world on a sporting stage which evolves like reading a great book with twists and turns in each chapter. Until you get to the final page, you don't know who's won it.
You're so close, it's so intense, there's an electricity that crackles in the place. You really feel you're sort of in the centre of the great web, and every twitch on the filament is something that kind of comes back to you. It's magnified.
You had these 998 people around you, and then you're there in the middle.
And everyone's so quiet. And you can almost hear people whispering. People don't think you can hear them, but you can.
It's too small. It's cramped. There's not enough room for the players, there's not enough room for television. There's lots of things that shouldn't be right about the place, but it just is.
It sends a little shiver down your spine because it's got so much history attached to it.
It's just pure theatre, it's drama.
Just the Crucible, I think, just that does it to you, doesn't it?
On my tombstone will not be written, "This is the man who took the World Championships away from the Crucible." It's staying, and it don't matter how much is involved. And I have never said that once in my entire life. Great days, mate, great days. That's a wrap, boys, yes?
I had my time upon this stage, this small space, this compact arena, but massive. Stand by to be squeezed in again. Stand by to be transported, wherever the Crucible takes us.